I can hear you great. Alright, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live in full effect with none other than the legendary Detroit legend. We got Awesome Dre up in the mix. How you doing this evening?
What up, though? What up, though, man? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. So,
You are most certainly welcome. First and foremost, I have to say, you are an absolute legend here on the East Coast, man. Thank you so much for the years of amazing music.
man, I appreciate it being, people like you and this thing and been time for that long. We all want to music to be, shooting these records for years and people still like it. That's going to be something.
So if you don't mind me asking, Dre, what made you decide to get into the music industry initially?
Well, I mean, just being born at the time I was born, man. I came of age in the '80s, and we was like hip hop, like students. That was our livelihood, our lifestyle. So, living in hip hop, and I was a b-boy before I picked up the mic. So that right there really just had me into that lifestyle in between the years of like 1980 and 1990, I would say those that decade there, the 80s, is where like I grew up. Born in Detroit, then moved to Akron, Ohio, and that's where I really got like fell all in love with hip hop while I was in Ohio. We was doing the b-boy and the break dancing and all of that, and just being around a lot of cold MCs and being exposed to a lot of pure hip hop. Even back then, we was in Ohio, but we was listening to 93 FM WZAK, and they used to simulcast from New York City, so we used to hear all of the stuff they was hearing in New York City, Red Alert, Mr. Magic, Marley Marl, all of that. We was hearing all of that at the same time when it was dropping. So just being, like I said, a teenager during that age, it was like that's what we loved at that time. So we were just engulfed in the whole culture of hip hop. So yeah, man, that's what that was about.
And when you also mentioned in the 80s, man, in 1989 you released You Can't Hold Me Back album. I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that iconic record?
Man, wow, that record.
Taking you back, eh?
Yeah, I mean, me and Ivan Hill, which is my first executive producer, that was my brother brother Lonzel, that was his homie. We were just riding around one day, and that record came on radio, the Average White Band, pick up pieces. So, everybody loved that record because we all grew up with that. Our mothers, played that, all of that type of music, was growing up. So it was just like, man, we was just cruising one day, and it came on, and I just started flowing like I normally would do when any type of beat came on, but that one kind of caught his ear more so. He was like, man, that would be sweet, to come out with that or whatever. And I was like, cool, yeah, it doesn't matter, let's rock it, We just went in the studio and put that together, and that was the inspiration for that first album. But we had already put out like 3 12-inches before that. Well, actually 2 12-inches, because You Can Hold Me Back with the Community Rhymes was actually the third 12-inch that we put out before we released the full length album. So, yeah, but my first album, my first record that we did was called Hardcore. That was like in the last part of '87, and that record was inspired by Rubber Without a Pause by Public Enemy. That was like what I was really, really feeling at that time, like everything about that album, that record. And so I kind of patterned it after that and had Corey Blake, the producer, kind of pattern my music behind that record when we made our very first record called Hardcore. That was like I say, late '87. But yep.
So I have to ask you, when you were speaking of hardcore and also your 1989 record, did you think those records were going to be as big as they were then as they are today?
Of course. You know what I'm saying? We was young MCs, we was egomaniacs. So yeah, we wanted it. We first dropped it. We thought it was gonna blow up, and like I said, everything don't go as quick and fast as you want or whatnot. But just small things that make a big difference. I mean, for us, creating that record in the first place was a big deal because it wasn't as easy and playing every kind of music you ever heard, but he actually played that record. We heard it, we caught it. It was just random. We didn't even know he was going to plan it on playing it or nothing. We just sent it to the radio station. We listened to it every day anyway. So one day when we heard it, it was crazy. We just jumped out the rash, started just gigging, dancing in the street. It was crazy, but just feelings like that, like worth it, because like when we came out, like I said, it was over like 30 years ago, so it wasn't really so much a hip hop industry at that point. So it was still more so underground street fuel culture. So we was doing it because we loved. That's what we was doing. We just loved doing it. It wasn't like, oh well, we're gonna make $1 million, sell 1 million records. Of course, that's everybody's dream, but still, everybody was not doing it just solely for that. We was doing it for the love of it, to get that feeling. But yeah, it was a good time being back there, in the golden age era of hip hop, though.
And also, you were featured on Violent J's song "Forever Detroit." I have to ask you, how did you and Violent J get connected, and what was it like working with him?
When I was actually Blaze the Dead, homie, I believe that was his song, was featuring me and Violent J, Forever Detroit. That is a hard ass song too. That's one of my favorite joints. But I met them years ago. You know what I'm saying? We was trying to link up and do a feature with them at the time, and it didn't work out. Actually, he wrote about it in his book. Esham was at the studio when they got over there, and he was like, "What y'all doing?" Whatever. He was like, "Oh yeah, we waiting to concentrate, supposed to come do a verse for us or whatever." He was like, "Whatever. Shit. How much y'all paying him?" They told him. He was like, "Shit, I'll do that right now for that." And he jumped on the track. I can't even the name of the track right now, but yeah, it was a funny story. It was just, we didn't know nothing about it back then, but we was just we were sticking to our guns. We were saying that we wanted a certain amount of money, and they were trying to negotiate us down and this, that, and the other. But ended up, like I say, he was there and he took advantage of that situation and got on that track. But then, like years later, we hooked back up with him, and that's when they invited me to do actually we did a remix of the "You Can't Hold Me Back" record with ICP. It was featuring ICP, Boss, the Merciless Amir, Big Hurt. Yeah, so we did that song. It was on one of the mixtapes that they put out, and we just was they invited me down to do the gathering at the Juggalo. So I went down there, and it was shit. It was crazy. It was something actually we ain't never experienced before, but it was all love. We rocked out with them. We did that for several years in a row, and several projects just traveling around and doing different shows and stuff with them, from the Hollywood gigs to the shows out in Hatchet Attack shows and different things like that, different tours they were on. So yeah, I was rocking with them most of these years. And my cousin, he still rock with them. Joe Double, aka Big Hoodie, he over there still doing the same with them now. So yeah, big up.
And when you mentioned ICP, like I heard stories that they are crazy to party with, man. So you must have been in for a treat when you were hanging out with them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, they have fun. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they say, it's a big family affair type of thing. They got a real tight knit community following everywhere. You know what I mean? But like I say, that it ain't nothing like being at the gathering when you see all them thousands people all together. You know what I'm saying? And rocking, and supporting each other. So yeah, it was wild. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I definitely got stories.
The one thing I do have to ask quickly before we move off the ICP topic, was it really hard actually having your style of hip-hop kind of with their music? Because some people really consider ICP hip-hop, some people don't, right? So was it actually kind of hard to blend your like hip-hop style with ICP's music?
Well, it wasn't really necessarily a thing of trying to blend my style with theirs. That's the one thing that you gotta realize. They are hip hop. When they respect hip hop, they are students of hip hop. That's why when you look at the gathering, you see all different types of hip hop artists from different backgrounds, different genres. It's not just like the psychopathic vibe or whatnot. Then they might have rock and roll artists there or whatever as well. But the thing about them is you have to be yourself, and that's what anything. You know what I mean? If you come there and you be and you yourself, and they gonna like you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna accept you. If you there and you trying to be fake, or you trying to if you don't understand where they coming from, you know what I'm saying? Any crowd you go to, you gotta know where you at, where you doing, who you dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Esham, he told me about that a long time ago. We was doing a show with them down. Where was we at? We was in Detroit somewhere downtown, the Fox Theater or something. But anyway, we was not familiar with the crowd at that time. This was years and years back, and we came out, and they we couldn't get into the vibe because we wasn't really familiar with it was not necessarily you have to do their style, but you got to understand where they come from or whatever. The type of culture that they have is very, very like they fans. I don't really want to call them fans. You know, Juggalo, they like part of it. You know what I mean? And they all interact with each other. You know what I mean? With the stage shows and stuff like that. And they got their own language. They got their own traditions. Their own different things that they do. So it's like, it's better, if you could fall into that and at least understand that and respect that. They respect you. You can do whatever you do as far as your style of music or whatnot. But they just got to, it's like with anything though, man. They got to just see if you if you real or not. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing about it. If you ain't real, and they can tell, they gonna let you know it. You know what I mean? And it's not like something like the Apollo. Whatever. You go to the Apollo and you whack, you gonna know it. You know what I'm saying? So they crowd ain't no easy to get over. You can't just come out there with any old type of bullshit and think that they gonna let you slide past with it. They not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as long as you be yourself and you come, do you, I mean, 9 times out of 10 you'll get respected. And so like I say, but we rock with them. You know what I mean? We ain't had no problem from day one. They was trying to warn us and all of that they a hard crowd and this and that, and it was like, okay, we're in front of a lot of different hard crowds, different places or whatever, but they're unique with theirs. But you got to be able to be just be a professional. You know what I'm saying? Be you, be yourself. Get up there, don't lose your cool or whatever. You can rock, do rock.
And also, you were part of the group called Awesome Dre and the Hardcore Committee. I have to ask you, can you tell us a bit more about that formation? How did you and the other members get connected?
Well, the Hardcore Committee is start off with me, my brother, Fonzo. This is the one who, when I first came back from the Navy, I went, like I said, I was born in Detroit, and I moved to Akron. I graduated, went to the Navy, came back out the Navy, and came back to Detroit. And as soon as I got back to Detroit, like I said, I was trying to really get into the music, because even when I was in the Navy, they were kicking me up like, man, you should be making records right now. You shouldn't even be here. Because I was in the Navy, like, battling guys from everywhere, ripping them, and so when I got back, that was our goal, to get in the studio. So it was me and Bonzo. And his man was Ivan. He had the money to be able to put us in the studio. So it became me, Bonzo, and Ivan. Bonzo's homeboy, Mike T. So they was both trying to help, and work with us on trying to do management roles and things like that. Then we pulled in Razorblade on DJ tip. I had my homie that grew up around the corner from me in Detroit, X-Man, as an MC. Then one of my homies from Ohio, originally from New York, Tony Tone. We had him down with the crew, and that was like the core group right there. That was the Hardcore Committee. And then we had a few other, people that was around, that was helping out doing different crews that was affiliated with us. But that was the core group right there. And Ivan, at the time we first started, Ivan had a partner joint who had put up money to put us in the studio at that time too, as far as executive producers. So yeah, that was the Hardcore Committee.
And also, in 1993, yourself and the Hardcore Committee released AD's Revenge. I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that iconic record?
Well, man, that's I got the title from one of my favorite movies with Glenn Turman back in the it was the 70s. He came out with that movie called JD's Revenge, about the guy that got possessed by an old gangster or whatever. But it was just one of my favorite movies, and I don't know, so I just made that. I just chose that title. But that second album was executive produced by my brother Babatunde, who he played bass. I had met him at they had a African cultural shop here on 7 Mile, where I went up there and bought music. We ended up getting over to his place doing some sessions and everything, and that led to us ultimately producing that whole album with him and Mix Down Posse. They produced that second album, AD's Revenge, and that was when I was going through a lot of enlightening, a lot of awakening, a lot of conscious awareness, study, and things like that. So I was coming up with a little more different, more deeper subjects and topics on my music at that point, like around '93. Yeah, so when we dropped that, and we did two videos. We did the first video, "This Is Babylon," where we went out to LA like a couple of months after they had the riots out there from the Rodney King verdict. We was out there like filming the videos. It was still like smoking in certain spots and stuff. But so we did that, and then we did the AD's Revenge title track video off of that here in Detroit, featuring Don Cisco Ivory as well, with the Jamaican rhythm to it or whatnot. But yeah, so yeah, that AD's Revenge '93 came out like about '92 years we were recording that. So yeah, that was up with that.
And also, you guys were also signed to Priority Records. If you don't mind me asking, how did that record deal come to be for you guys, and what was it like being signed to such a prestigious label back then in the '90s?
Priority Records was the shit. Shout out Brian Turner. He looked out for us from day one when we was messing with them. We ended up getting the Priority like through a deal that we had, that we got our first like official deal. Like when we first signed, like I say, it was Ivan Hill and Joint. That was Jorland's Records that put out our very first 12 inches, first 3 12 inches, and recorded the first album and all of that. But that led us to this guy named Bernard Carter, who was doing promotion in Detroit. He hooked us up with this label called Bentley Records out in California. And so we signed with them, and they came to Detroit, and that's when we shot the first video, the "You Can't Hold Me Back" video, produced by Brian Piccolo, directed by Brian Piccolo, and so he shopped us a deal. Like, so we got a deal with Bentley. So we was out there in LA dealing with him, and through Bentley, Priority noticed us, and we got a meeting with Priority while we were with Bentley, and then we signed with Priority at that point, and then we shot the Frankly Speaking video. So, but Priority, they put us on the map. You know what I mean? They the ones who had the machine and the network and the outlet to really get us on the next level. So, yeah, that was a good deal, you know. But it was just the timing was kind of bad, because at the same time they had NWA, and they was going through all of their fucking police problems with the FBI and all of that. And it was like we had problems. We had problems with Bentley Records too at the time. Right around the time we were signing with Priority over some money issues and everything. So it was like they didn't want to. They thought we was gonna bring them problems like they was having with what they was dealing with NWA or whatever, or even worse. So it was kind of got put on the back burner at that situation. And, you know, I can't really blame them when you look back at it, but at the time we was like, you know, fuck that. You know, we wanted our shit out there. You know what I mean? We wanted to still be rocking, but you know, there was a lack of really proper legal representation and management at that time. It really didn't let that situation flourish as big as it should have. But like I said, it was all a learning experience. But like I said, Priority get us out there to be able to get that album, that "You Can't Hold Me Back" album, to peak out at like number 52 on the top 100 Black album charts in Billboard in December '89, and Frankly Speaking topped out at number 6, top 25 hot rap singles that same month, December like 1989. So, you know, that's doing good back then at that time for us coming out of the D. And you know, they just don't put you in the Billboard magazine just because they like you or not like that. You have to be doing numbers. So, you know, that proved the fact what they was hearing. So that's still a good thing, you know. So we was like young in the game trying to learn this, you know. So you had to, you know, go through a few different trials.
And if you want me asking, when you were actually signed to Priority, did you ever have the opportunity to meet NWA or anything along those lines?
I met Dre. We were shooting a Yo magazine photo shoot, and interview and photo shoot. I met him that day. Pat Charbonnet, who was Ice Cube manager at the time, she was handling my setting me up for that interview, and she was telling me he was interviewing that same day. So we ended up, meeting. You know what I mean? We didn't really get a chance. We didn't kick it. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like I should have probably pushed forward on, but like I say, he was young, wild, arrogant. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I ain't jocking him type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But we met. You know what I mean? And it was like it was always mutual respect. But it was like for us, really, we looked at them as competition at the time. Honestly, we was on the same label. It wasn't like one of the things when we all get the same tattoo and we wear your chain. I was like, no, we was trying to get top billing in the label to get promoted. You know what I mean? We was like, we better than them. We want to get put out. You know what I mean? We had that type of mentality back then. So it really wasn't a thing looking out to try to collaborate or meet with them or anybody like that. You know what I mean? We was trying to make our name known. You know what I mean? We felt like their name was known, and we was trying to make our name known too, off of us, not off of the clout of somebody else at that point.
I think, Dodd, back in the day, if you two would have worked together, you guys would have produced some amazing classics. Dre on the beat, awesome Dre on the hooks, man. I'm just saying that would be straight slappers.
Oh man, no doubt for sure.
So also moving ahead a couple years here, you were a part of the documentary The Untold Story of Detroit Hip Hop. Can you tell us a bit more about that documentary and what was it like actually being able to be in a documentary based on your hometown?
Oh man, big up to my man Champtown. That's my homie right there. You know what I mean? We go back all the way. You know what I mean? It was because of him that we got a chance to go on tour with Public Enemy several times or whatnot. But yeah, it feels good, man, being a part of a Detroit documentary. One that's gonna really give you a different perspective on things that people have experienced. You know what I'm saying? And so it gives different people a chance to get their story out and different people to get acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, we come from what we call the golden age of Detroit hip hop back in the day, from Detroit's most wanted to AWOL, the Boss, Smiley, Chaos and Maestro, Jack Frost, D-Def and Poncho, J to the D. Man, I mean, it's a long list. I don't have a list written in front of me. I should have wrote one. But, I mean, Detroit hip-hop, especially in our era, was so sweet. Merciless Admit, DJ Lowe's, Easy B. I was like, everyone had their own unique style, and, that was special. You know what I mean? It's like everybody didn't sound the same. You know what I mean? So that was one thing that I loved coming up. In that era, as far as the 80s, the late 80s, as far as when we really peaked, it was late 80s. It wasn't 90s yet. But so we just still own that 80s. And like I say, to me, the 80s was the greatest. As far as not just hip hop, but it's like a lot of things technology wise. You know what I mean? We came out in the 80s and we were the first to experience certain type of things, whatever it was, the beepers, the cell phones, the CD, Walkman, video games, all of that type of stuff. That technology busted out in the 80s, man, and we was like say teenagers and stuff at that time. So we thought that was our world. All the new stuff was for us. You know what I'm saying? So it was sweet back then, man. But yeah, the documentary it goes in depth into a lot of unsung heroes of Detroit. So it's just like I say, you give you a different perspective on a lot of things because everybody telling things from their side. You know what I mean? And not necessarily including everything that happened. Out of the past just because you didn't like it, but part of it what made you and all of that. So you tell all of the story, good, bad, ugly, and all that. But yeah, that's one of them that it speaks the truth to it. You know what I mean? From everybody that I've seen from the history I had, business, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely a good look.
And before we move off the topic of Detroit hip hop, I do want to ask you one thing. As we all know, you are a hip hop pioneer in the 313, man. You are a Detroit hip hop pioneer, and I have to ask you, how does it feel knowing that you are a Detroit hip hop pioneer, and What's your take on like the people that came after you? You know what I mean? Like Eminem, D12. Like, is that the route that you thought Detroit hip hop would go?
The thing about Detroit hip hop, there's various levels of it and various different factions of it. So yes, it's all we all interconnected, man, and I feel great for them to be able to take it to other levels. You know what I mean? To open up and let people look at Detroit. And what another thing too, like I was saying earlier, I'm lucky though, man. I'm blessed. I'm more than lucky. I'm blessed to be looked at, as a legend, not indeed just only in Detroit, but in Akron, Ohio as well. 'Cause like I say, that's where I really got, honed all my hip hop skills. When I came there, I was dancing and everything like that already, but it wasn't. I didn't fully engulf myself into hip hop until I was there, because like I say, those were the times where it was prominent, everything the most. Like I say, we moved there probably, I think it was around 78. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, between 80 and 86, you know, that's where I graduated in 86. You know what I mean? So if you look back and look at the top hip hop charts from whatever 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, you will realize that all of that is like golden era age hip hop. You know what I'm saying? From Fantastic Five, Furious Five, Crash Cool, Furious Four, Fearless Four, Spencer Street, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm about real, like, authentic hip hop. Back in the day, 12-inch white label, we don't know what nobody looked like, didn't care. Wasn't no video, wasn't no social media, none of that. You know what I'm saying? 12-inch cassette. You know what I'm saying? Straight up cardboard in the street breaking. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I love them because that was, like I say, that's just my history. Go back and it includes both cities. Like I said, we moved there because I got family there, but now my brother, she got there, we moved down there. So we rolling back and forth. As much as I could be, every summer, all of the holidays, things like that. I'm back and forth. And then, like I said, after I graduated and went to the Navy and got out, I came back to Detroit. So I got include, Akron on my list there as well. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, it was these others called party rappers. There was some Akron, and it was one of my homie across the street. His big brother was in the group. These dudes was like, number one in the city, at that time as far as rapping. Like I said, they were called the party rappers, but I was focused on dancing. I was in a group called the Poppers, like the Poppers, period. I was in the 7th grade and all the rest of the guys 12th grade. Like I made the group and we was rocking, Easter talent shows at the Civics, all of that. So it's like my hip hop, my history is split between Detroit and Akron, you know what I mean? So I got you, shout out love to both of those cities, you know what I mean? Always be part of my history and things like that. But man, it's incredible. Like I said, 30 years, man. It's like we should have just had record store day on April the 18th, but of course it got pushed back to June 20th. Hopefully everything goes through then, and everybody will be able to get that 30-year anniversary edition of that remastered. You Can't Hold Me Back album on limited edition with vinyl. Shout out Sean Franklin. We mastered that boy TVS on label Rock Global and Traffic Entertainment Group, man. We got a lot of big things planned, man. And like I say, just to be still, around and thought about 30 years later, man, that's not no easy feat. It's not automatic, So I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support, all the love, man, all the people that excuse me, that reacted to the post that I put up about this interview, on Instagram, Facebook, all the people that shared it, everything like that, man. That's much love for real. So like I say, that's why we do it, man. We love doing this, but we want everybody else to hear it and get a chance to love it if they want to as well. So yeah, man, that's what's up with it.
And I have to ask this, Awesome Dre. When you said 30 plus years of nonstop recognition and love from the fans, also in 2014 you were awarded the Detroit Hip Hop Lifetime Achievement Award. Can you tell us a bit more about that award and how does that feel having that amazing award under your belt?
Man, shout out to my brother Khalid El Hakim. He's with the hip the hip hop, the mobile hip hop museum. I hope I'm probably messing that up. But y'all go in there, look up Khalid El Hakim, the brother. He got he got big things going on as far as keeping the culture moving with people all around display his collection of historical artifacts that not just hip hop, but just black experience in general. So people history lessons, things like that. Go around to a lot of different educational institutes and things like that. History. So this brother, yes, he was. I was blessed, man, to be able to be recognized in the organization for what we have done over the years. Just being ourselves. It was like, yeah, we try to put this all this time for the old, so we put it on the board and all of that. It ain't really like that. It was just like they like it, they appreciate it. It sounds good, things like that. So to be able to get that award was humbling, man. Like they say, it was a blessing, all praise to craft years of joy. Keep me up in that piece, man. I believe that Kalima got the award that day too. And she was out and on that day when she was one of the coldest women in back in the day too. I remember Super MC, he went off the top, he one of the coldest freestyle was down, but like when yeah, a solo artist too, but he came rock off the top of the dome, did our whole history out. You know what I mean? Like just off the top of the dome was crazy. But that's the day I met brother Kadir, I think too. They brought him in. It's crazy, but that's good. Yeah, post that thing. Man, it was a beautiful day, man. Day, yeah, it was beautiful, man. So yeah, that was something else. Definitely very proud of to be able that award, but not that was
So I have to ask you, Awesome Dre, what's next for you? Is anything you want to promote? Anything you want to bring up to the live audience? Will we still have you here on the air?
yeah, like I said, it was person, he was very forward. He listened to that for a year and first edition. It's still coming. So that's right now what we work on and get out there and talk to them on every live show or just have that show with my uh, I'm really keen to get back to the stage. Wait, but till then, I'm live stream type like I was like, go back to your, go back to your new videos on the whole album. So that's that, that, still on back on Rampage. A lot of one of those videos are now top of yeah. So, yeah, and that's really the main right now. All right.
So, Awesome Dre, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that comes on the show. Just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, and also your social media handles. That way our listeners can give you a follow if they're not already doing so.
Like that's what's up. This is my mom. Shout out, yeah, shout out, Mix Man. Shout out, Hype. Shout out, shout out, shout out, everybody. Spread love. That's really what it's about. Whack. So that's
I want to say, Dre, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live. It most definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege to have such a legendary, talented hip hop Detroit pioneer like yourself on the platform, man. I do want to say thank you so much again, and you most definitely have yourself a wonderful night.
and I appreciate y'all. What's up?
One love.